Like father, like son, the story of Andre McDonald and Everton Beachy Stout McDonald seems so similar to be a reality. Andre McDonald is charged with taking note of his wife and now serve a 20-year prison sentence. His father, Everton Beachy Stout McDonald, is charged with a similar offense after he was actually arrested and charged for taking out both his wives. Hi again and welcome. This is Links 007 TV Let's Talk, and we're about to discuss this on the program. If it's the first time you're watching, please remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell and click on all so you're always updated with our latest report. We'll be right back after this short break with the full and exclusive details. Welcome back and thanks for joining us for the program. This is Links 007 TV Let's Talk. This is the place where we discuss issues of national importance or global importance or the situation that are buzzing in the news. So what happened to Andrew McDonald still remains a mystery to many, as the family of Andrew McDonald have left in shock based on the verdict that was read out in court just last week. However, Andre McDonald, who is the husband of Andrew McDonald, will serve a 20-year prison sentence after he was convicted of a lesser charge in the court in the United States of manslaughter and will serve some time behind bars for a heinous crime that was committed against a female. During the trial, the family had to listen to the chilling details that took place and the manner in which Andrine McDonald lost her life. The Air Force Major Andre McDonald described in details the way he took the life of his wife and later mutilated her body while taking the stand in his own defense during the trial on murder charges late Monday afternoon. The defendant told jurors in the San Antonio court that Mr. Andre McDonald acted in self-defense when an argument developed about money which later turned physical. In the end, the altercation turned fatal for 29-year-old Andrine McDonald. The defendant said that he learned that his wife, Andrine McDonald, left his name off an important document establishing an assisted living business when reviewing tax files at an H&R Block on February 28, 2019. As most of you might have known, Miss Andrine McDonald and Andre McDonald operated a successful business in the United States. Andre McDonald would have been the one who would have financed this business, which led to other business being opened and also led to the opening of another business which the wife decided to leave his name off. Andre McDonald lived in Jamaica for some time and was actually taken to the United States by Andre McDonald when he came to Jamaica for a funeral. The two got in love and Andre McDonald took Andre McDonald to the United States where he spent a whole lot of money schooling Andre McDonald and making sure that she had the proper education that he had. Mr. Andre McDonald also did some school time in engineering and had attained an education obtaining 2 degrees before going into the army to serve as a U.S. Major. However, all this turned downhill for him on February 29, 2019, after he later discovered that while he was away in the army, his wife was planning to leave him and was also having a secret relationship with a long-standing friend back in Jamaica. Mr. Andre McDonough also revealed in court that it's not every day you find out that your wife is ripping you off, Mr. McDonald said in the Boxer County Court. The ill feeling that resulted from the discovery, he added, were particularly bitter because he also found out recently that Miss Andrine McDonald was talking to an old boyfriend in the couple's home country of Jamaica. So he said he left and went to a nearby park to cool down and listened to some music until midnight had passed. It was further revealed in court that on March 1st, 2019, The defendant said that he returned home and was heading to the master bedroom when he unexpectedly saw his wife sitting alone in the living room. The discovery, he told jurors, prompted him to tell his wife that he would file for a divorce the next day. Unlike a prior divorce threat, he would go through with this one, he stated. In turn, Mr. McDonald said his wife cursed him in Jamaican patois, telling him to perform oral sex on his mother and calling him a term that refers to a homosexual. Both of these words used, he testified, would be considered frightening words among many Jamaicans. After clarifying what she meant, the defendant said that he tried to retreat to the master bedroom, but his wife followed him there. Mr. McDonald said that he made a comment about splitting up the businesses in the divorce, which caused his wife to become further upset. He reportedly insisted that his efforts to de-escalate the situation went nowhere, as the patois resulted in a continued disrespect, and that eventually Andre McDonald spit in his face. According to Mr. McDonald, at that point he said he reflexively grabbed her face and the couple's head made contact, likely resulted in a cut on the lower forehead of the face because his wife being a bit taller than the defendant. Then Mr. McDonald told the jurors that his wife ran into the master bedroom, inspected her face and saw the blood and got extremely angry. Mr. McDonald said that his wife then rushed over and attacked him and began throwing punches. A scuffle ensued between them, and he intentionally tripped his wife down to the ground in order to defuse the situation. The defendant then told jurors that he landed like a couple of kicks, and upon the second kick he heard some wheezing sound coming from his wife. According to Andre McDonald, he said that the fight between them lasted less than 10 minutes or so. Around the same time it ended, McDonald said that he heard some footsteps running and discovered that the couple's special needs child was out of bed. He then said that he went upstairs to take her back to her bed, and by the time he had done this and returned, he found Andrine McDonald unresponsive where he had left her. So at this point, according to Andre McDonald, he became very frantic at this point, testifying that he discovered that Andrine McDonald lacked a pulse and she was still lying on the floor motionlessly. I'm going to be blamed for this, he said to himself, considering the fact that they had a physical confrontation and he would have been the one that inflicted some serious blows to her. According to Mr. McDonald, he stated that the situation became so overwhelming for him and he became frightened. McDonald then said that he felt so hot inside the house, so he stepped outside. Soon enough, the defendant admitted that he hitched a plan to dispose of his wife's body so his daughter wouldn't find it. First, he got 2 trash bags, he said, and then he later think about what to do with her body. She's pretty big, McDonald said in his response to questions from his attorney. So this is where Mr. McDonald began to unleash the chilling details that transpired thereafter. He stated that he dragged her through the house in the plastic bags that he had got, and then in a bid to get rid of the body, he actually used a belt to tie the section of the bag. After expanding some efforts getting her into the trunk of a Chevy van, the defendant said that he disposed of her body on a rural property near a soccer field on a road north in the Boxer County area. He said that he remembered there was a dead cow there next to where he ended up. The defendant said that he described the process of concealing his wife's corpse. The defendant said that he then went home and buried his wife's clothes and possibly his own clothes in a plastic bucket and then melted in the backyard, burning the clothes. That the way he admitted that he was trying to actually cover up the whole entire situation, even though he knew that this was wrong. Because there were marks and bruises on him, he said he stood outside for some time. The next morning, Mr. McDonald said that he got his daughter ready for school and put her on the bus. Next, he fed the dogs, sent his wife a text message, destroyed her cell phone, dumped some of the evidence and went to work. Upon arriving home that day, he found his wife's relatives in law and law enforcement officers. After that, he said that they did an interview and requested that he get an attorney. He said, Mr. McDonald was later released. The defendant returned home to the property, and this was when he realized that everything was going downhill for him. Mr. McDonald further decided to tell the court that he wanted to get rid of the evidence, and so he got a can of gas and also a hammer. He was angry, he said, very angry to the point that he did not know what he was doing. The defense counsel then asked him to elaborate on his anger. The reason why I'm really angry, he said, is because I'm like thinking about how the whole situation, like a lot of it, he explained. On the cross-examination, the defendant, Andre McDonald, admitted that he returned to the field the next night and placed cow bone on his wife's body in a bid to conceal the evidence. After the discovery of Andre McDonald's body, Andre McDonald was actually taken into custody by the police. In the case that was read out in court recently, a jury found the Air Force Major Andre McDonald guilty of manslaughter, and this would have been last Friday, in a case prosecutors had tried to prove murder, capping a dramatic trial in which the defendant admitted to taking the life of his wife. The jury deliberated for 12 hours and arrived at a verdict with a lesser charge of manslaughter, meaning that Andre McDonald will serve a 20-year prison sentence. However, he will only serve up to 8 years before being eligible for parole. So this was what really happened within the case itself, and I can tell you that what happened to Andre McDonald is a very sad and unfortunate situation. And even though the evidence had pointed to this being a murder, the jury came to a unanimous agreement of a lesser charge of manslaughter. Now, as we look on this case, his father, who is actually known as Everton Beaches Stout, is actually facing a similar charge back home in Jamaica. So the man that carried out this vicious attack on Miss McDonald was sentenced to 16 years in prison and ordered to serve 10 years before he becomes eligible for parole. So Delvalin Minot, a fisherman who resides in Portland also, claimed that Beaches Stout gave him clear instruction on how his wife should be taken out. Now might I warn you that 2 individuals were responsible for the life of this female being taken out, as Mr. Beaches Stout had contracted 1 individual in order to carry out this attack, and that individual in return subcontracted another individual in order to carry out the vicious attack on the female. The subcontracted killer detailed how Mr. McDonald told him that he wanted his wife's life to be taken. He states that he told him that Mrs. McDonald should not be shot, but he should in turn stab up her body multiple times, according to detectives and according to the prosecutors. That was what he told them. Denverlin Minot admitted that he gave the work to another man known to him as the Youth. He revealed that on the night in question of July 20, Miss Tonya McDonald picked him up in the Toyota Axio motor car, and he indicated to her that he was going to pick up another man in Port Antonio. The 3 then traveled to an area known as Sherwood Forest. He said that the Youth, and that's a subcontracted killer, asked Miss Tonya McDonald to stop the car and turn it around as they approached a 3-way intersection. Denverlin Minot recalled stepping out of the vehicle after she complied with the request, causing her to become very fearful. So at this point in time, when they went to the area of Sherwood Forest in the secluded area of Portland, Miss Tonya McDonald became very fearful and feared for her life based on this, that she was in an area that was not properly lit and had no houses, and it was like a dead end in this area. Now she was becoming fearful for her life. She knew that something was wrong. Only if she had thus make a run for it, then maybe her life could have been spared. So at this very current moment, Miss McDonald was very fearful for her life, and I quote what she said. "Where you a go? Me afraid. You know see round here dark," he quoted her as saying, according to Mr. Minot. The man also stepped out of the vehicle, and that's the subcontractor killer, and then quickly stepped back inside. This was where all hell broke loose. So after the individual that is known as the youth, or would we refer to him as the subcontracted killer, stepped back inside the vehicle, a rustle between him and Mrs. Tonya McDonald ensued. The youth grabbed Miss McDonald around her headrest of the driver's seat, and they were rustling, according to an eyewitness. The witness said that during the rustling between Miss Tonya McDonald and the man known as the youth, or the subcontracted killer, the youth stabbed her, and he saw blood coming from her two sides and the back of her neck. So it has been reported that the individual stabbed her in her two sides and also in her neck, as was detailed by Mr. Everton McDonald, the husband of Miss Tonya McDonald. So this was what Mr. McDonald told the individual to do to his wife. Minot said that the man had a bottle as well containing some unknown liquid, which at this point in time we can safely say that we believe that this was gas. So soon after, the car was set on fire, and the man known as Mr. Denver Lynn said that after that he left the scene to call Mr. Everton McDonald to inform him that the job was done. So the individual in question made this confession in the presence of two justices of the peace, Everton McDonald, also known as Mr. Mac, a popular 65-year-old businessman of Portland, Jamaica, and another man known as Ashar Barnes, have been arrested and charged with the gruesome slaying of Miss Tonya McDonald. Denver Lynn Minot, in a caution statement which was cited in court by prosecutors, claimed that he was contracted by Mr. Everton McDonald to kill Miss Tonya McDonald. It has also been revealed that a $3 million contract was placed on the head of the wife. So Mr. McDonald is said to be a very wealthy man in the Portland area, and he would have paid $3 million in order for the demise of his wife. And remember, Mr. McDonald's previous wife was viciously taken out outside her home some years ago. So in that incident, the police have stated that they have relaunched an investigation into that as well, based on the current situation that played out over there in Portland. So the individual said that the arrangement was that the payment of $3 million would be made for the taking out of Mrs. McDonald, one prosecutor disclosed, citing the caution statement. Justice Vivian Harris, who imposed the sentence, called the killing horrifying, and we can agree with you on that. Minor confessions were contained in a caution statement he made to detectives assigned to the Major Investigation Division 2 weeks after the partially burnt body of 32-year-old businesswoman Miss Tonya McDonald was found with her throat slashed inside a car in the Sherwood Forest area of Portland. The Sanson police reported that while the scene was being processed, Everton McDonald arrived and identified his wife's body, as well as a car that was found burned beyond recognition. Minot reportedly broke down in tears as he recounted to detectives his role in the taking out of Mrs. McDonald. The individual further stated that Miss Tonya McDonald trusted him so much that was why she decided to follow him to the secluded area of Sherwood Forest. He recounted through tears in a caution statement to investigators. Mr. Everton Beachy Stout McDonald and Barnes are scheduled to reappear in court at a later date. Whoa, what a chilling details of how this incident transpired over there in Portland, Jamaica. So this individual, one of them would have been known to Miss Tonya McDonald and would be a friend of the popular Portland businessman, Mr. Everton Beachy Stout. So Mrs. McDonald trusts this individual to the point where she was not in fear at that current moment.
But after they went to the Sherwood Forest, the secluded area, more referred to as an isolated area in Portland, Jamaica, this was where she became very fearful for her life. So at that current moment, Mrs. McDonald knew that something was wrong, and she expressed that fear through her voice to the other individuals that were at the location with her. Now she had her trust in this individual, and that was why she ventured on the journey that would have taken her life on the fateful night of July 20, 2020. Now this situation is so sad, and this has left a void in the entire community of Portland and the area where she resides. Now this has left the entire business community in shock as well, as Mr. Everton Beachy Stout McDonald was a popular and wealthy businessman in the area of Portland, and this transpired in full view of the whole entire community. And right now, the area where they both resides from, or hails from I should say, are left in shock based on the revelation that came out in court just this week. Now this situation just goes to show you that we are living in a world right now where crime and violence is at a high, and you can't at times even trust the closest people to you, because Mrs. Tonya McDonald trusts this individual to the point where she accompanied him to the secluded area of Sherwood Forest. But on reaching there, she realized that something was wrong, and she expressed fear through her voice to these individuals. A rustling ensued between her and another subcontracted killer, and she was stabbed repeatedly and her body set on fire. This was just such a sad and unfortunate situation, and I believe that justice will be served based on the fact that the police carried out a thorough investigation in order to apprehend these individuals in such a short space of time. Now, when we look on this situation and how it played out, there have been numerous speculation as to what might have led to the demise of Miss Tonya McDonald. Some people have stated that Mr. McDonald invested a whole lot of money and time into the relationship, and Miss Tonya McDonald was on the side giving him bond with different individuals on numerous occasions, we're told. We cannot confirm that, nor we can't deny that, but those are just the speculations that are going on around there, are in the Portland area, that Mrs. McDonald had a whole lot of man per se, and that he was killing Mr. McDonald with bond basically. But even if that was so, it does not give him the right in order to take the life of another individual based on the fact that you believe your female was in fact being unfaithful to you. But what played out is already done, and I hope that justice will be served. This has been Links 007 TV Let's Talk, and I believe I'll be leaving this one right here for now. Thanks for watching.